Hey everyone, welcome back to the Inner Child series this week. So this is video 4, and we are going to be talking about the child that needs to play and explore. Okay, so I actually wrote this one for myself because this is an area in my life that I struggle with. I love to contemplate life. I love to contemplate spirituality, psychology, all these things. And I tend to have a propensity to take life quite seriously. And I'm working at being more playful, more exploratory, and connecting more with other people in a playful way. I definitely have this side in me, and I have this side in me very ingrained from when I was a kid because I was very playful. I have home videos of me doing all sorts of crazy, fun stuff. And part of the adventure for me in the next year is going to be to bring more of this into my life. So I just want you guys to know that I'm right here with you in this journey with this inner child work, and it's some beautiful work. So the intention for today's video is going to be essentially how we can use a sense of play and a sense of exploration to reduce stress. Okay, that's basically the message I want to get across. We're going to obviously add different flavors into it as we go, but this is the main message that I want you guys to take home. So first I want to break down a little bit of some of the collective belief systems that most people possess around having a sense of play, engaging with the inner child, being exploratory, these sorts of things. Because as we go through domestication, and by domestication I mean as we get older, right? We go from being this playful, fun, adventurous adolescent, and then we move into our teenage years, and things just suddenly get more serious and more serious as we get more responsibility. We have more expectation to be a certain way, so we end up losing this playful, childlike essence, thinking that we need to grow up and we need to get away from it. But really, as we get into our adult years, we actually need to go the other way. We need to start reconnecting with this part that we were kind of running from, or that we were trying to get away from. Because as a kid, no one wants to be seen as a kid. We want to be seen as an adult. We want to do what the adults are doing, right? So we end up even at an early age, we start to split from this immature or this adolescent idea of who we are. Okay, so part of this journey is going to be about reconnecting with that. So that's what I mean about domestication. But what this process does for us is it really it pulls us away from our essence. Okay, and when I say essence, that's what I mean. That's the inner child energy. That's playful, exploratory. It's the essence of our being. It's what brings us joy and fulfillment. It's what gets us excited. And a lot of times people stifle those feelings because we don't want people to see us in this excited state. We don't want people to see us having fun and being silly and goofy because it's seen as immature. So we need to disconnect and disengage from this collective belief system that we bought into along the lines, and we need to start to connect with this part of our being. Okay, so that's how we become disconnected from our inner child, is we reject this part of ourself that's silly, goofy, fun, immature, whatever you want to call it, because we are worried about what people think about us. Okay, so we conform and we do what society says we need to do, but through that process is we're actually betraying ourselves, right? And that's how we disconnect from our inner child. We reject our inner child's adventurous, playful side, and we start to move into this serious side. This creates a major imbalance in our life because we end up operating over here in this very serious, very expectation-filled, pressure-filled adult life, and we are not engaging with this other part of our being that's trying to express itself. So what we want to learn is we want to learn balance. We want to learn to be able to kind of meet in the middle and allow these two to reunite into one being, so we can therefore come together and we can have a sense of self where we work hard and we put expectation ourselves to achieve and do these things, but we also have an outlet for stress and for this pressure that we're feeling from the expectation that we're putting on ourselves. Okay, so when we go through this process, it really starts to allow us to be able to cope with stress in a new and profound way, because we have the ability to be able to connect with a part of our being that is trying to express itself in a way that is really, really therapeutically good for de-stressing, right? Play, exploration. Think about the things that you do on the weekend, right? And then a lot of times people dread Mondays because they got to go back into this cycle, and you're living on a 5-to-2 ratio right now, right? Most people. So you're serious, you're living in this structured life, you're stressed out 5 days, and then 2 days you get to really de-stress. But are you actually de-stressing and going above into playfulness, where you're able to then therefore let go of all of this other pressure and move into that? So we need to learn how to do that 7 for 7, right? We can still be playful and have fun, but first we need to let go of this idea around shame and embarrassment if we act in certain ways, okay? Because again, this is just really going to be about people judging us for being silly, goofy, immature, adolescent, whatever. And we need to learn to let go of that, because at the end of the day, shame, there's a lot of research on shame, and it's actually, humans use shame as a way to control other humans' behaviors. We use shame to control our own behaviors. So shame is really a toxic emotion that is built around control. Okay, so if we can start to disengage from that and quit shaming other people for seeing them in this state of play. And the shame is really just a projection of our own inner child saying, F you, I wish I was doing what that person is doing. And you're not quite sure how to understand that. And you just send shame and judgment to these other people trying to stop that. The same thing is coming back at you, right? So when you're feeling like you're in your essence energy and you're being playful and you're being immature and goofy and goofing off with your friends, and you see somebody look at you weird and they send judgment your way, it immediately wants us to disengage that behavior. So we cut off from it. Again, we send rejection messages to our inner child. So I want to help you guys shift the mindset around this, because this other person is experiencing a lack of disconnection to their inner child. They see you connecting with yours. They feel envious or jealous, and they project that in your direction to try and control your behavior, because your behavior is making them feel uncomfortable about something that's going on inside of them. Okay, so if you can just stop for a moment and release that energy of judgment and shame that they're trying to send to you, and allow them to take that on and deal with it themselves, and you don't have to take that on, suddenly you start to feel empowered, and you're like, wow, okay, I can connect with this part of my being, and I don't have to feel shame. I don't have to feel all these weird embarrassment feelings for being playful and being silly, right? So again, do not take something on that isn't yours, and then on the other side of the spectrum, do not hand out something that you should be going inward and healing within, right? Don't send out judgment, don't send out shame. And you'll notice when you stop disengaging in that exchange with people, and you stop sending judgment and shame outward, you're not going to think that it's coming back at you as intensely, because we often think the world treats us the same way that we treat it. Right? And again, it's all perception. We don't know how other people are thinking or feeling about us. We have intuition, and we can energetically connect to that intuition, and we might be able to perceive certain things. But at the end of the day, you can never perceive someone's truth, because that's their truth. You're not sure what's actually going on in their minds, right? And oftentimes we make assumptions about that. So I want to invite you in the next week to just start to engage with this part of your being. If you have a desire to do something, but your adult self is telling you, no, don't do that, people are gonna judge you, or you're gonna feel silly, I would encourage you to push through that, because that's just your ego. That's your sense of control of yourself trying to disengage from this part of your being, this inner child. So let the inner child speak, listen to it, and let it act in the way that it wants to act. And your job as an adult self is to honor, to protect, and to nurture, right? So how in all of those ways, when you're honoring and you're protecting and you're nurturing your inner child, you are allowing it to be just as it needs to be, which is playful and exploratory. Okay? You're going to notice through this work that your ability to cope with stress is going to be, it's going to skyrocket. You're going to learn how to manage your stress and maybe even eliminate stress in your life because you are allowing yourself to connect with yourself in a way that is going to naturally de-stress your life. Okay? So we have one more video on the inner child, and it's going to be about the inner child that needs love. Okay, this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to this one tomorrow. Hopefully you're having a beautiful day. Take care. Bye.